The plasma state of UFOs refers to the hypothesis that unidentified flying objects, UFOs, may exhibit characteristics associated with plasma, a distinct state of matter. In this context, plasma is an ionized gas consisting of charged particles, such as electrons and ions, that can carry electric currents. According to some theories, UFOs may generate or interact with plasma in various ways. It is suggested that the intense luminosity and unusual behavior reported in certain UFO sightings could be attributed to the presence of plasma. This hypothesis proposes that the UFOs create a plasma field around themselves, which can manifest as glowing or pulsating lights, changes in color, and dynamic movements. The plasma state of UFOs is often invoked to explain phenomena such as rapid acceleration, sudden stops, sharp turns, and the ability to maneuver in ways that defy conventional aircraft capabilities. It is theorized that the manipulation of plasma fields could enable UFOs to generate lift, reduce air resistance, and potentially achieve high speeds without experiencing the same physical limitations as traditional aircraft. The 1981 Carlos Diaz UFO incident is one of the most important evidence of the ability of unidentified flying objects to transform into a plasma state. The belief that UFOs do not exist is held by many, who speculate that these sightings are simply a result of secret technology being tested in the future. Due to our lack of knowledge about such technology, these objects are perceived as unknown. However, there was an incident in 1981 involving Carlos Diaz and a large, orange, oval-shaped UFO that challenges these beliefs. In January 1981, Carlos Diaz, a Mexican photographer, arrived at a deserted car park near Mexico City's Ajusco Park. He was there for a magazine assignment and had arranged to meet a journalist who had not yet arrived. Diaz sat in his car, preparing his camera for the task at hand. Despite the early hour, the air was thick with humidity, making it uncomfortable even to sit still. Restlessly, Diaz glanced at his watch when his attention was suddenly captured by a peculiar yellow glow emanating from the valley below. Initially, he thought it might be a forest fire, but within moments, he realized it was a large, orange, oval-shaped UFO slowly hovering about 30 meters away from his car. Astounded, Diaz swiftly grabbed his camera and, with it steadied on his steering wheel, frantically took photographs. Suddenly, the entire car began to violently shake, prompting Diaz to exit the vehicle and capture 2 more pictures, before the craft rapidly ascended into the sky, leaving him in a state of shock. This encounter marked the beginning of one of the most captivating and enduring cases in the history of ufology. To this day, it remains one of the few alleged UFO encounters supported by verified film documentation that has withstood the scrutiny of numerous experts. The credibility of Diaz's claims has attracted the attention of renowned UFO researchers, including German author Michael Heisman and researcher Dr. John Mack. Both concluded that Diaz's story is entirely credible. Heisman, echoing the sentiments of many researchers, referred to the Carlos Diaz case as one of the most significant documented UFO cases in modern times. Diaz himself had no inkling of what lay ahead during his initial encounter. The transition from a routine UFO sighting in a recognized UFO hotspot to becoming one of the prominent cases of recent years took several weeks. In the days following the January sighting, Diaz remained preoccupied by his experience. Unable to forget what he had witnessed, he returned to the Ajusco Park location multiple times, in the hopes of capturing more photographs. After several fruitless visits, Diaz began to believe that he was wasting his time. However, on March 23, his patience paid off. While exploring the verdant surroundings, Diaz was once again alerted to the presence of a UFO by an orange glow, barely visible through the fog and rain that soaked Ajusco Park's forest. As he ascended the valley walls, he positioned himself within 45 meters of the object. Diaz observed the dome-shaped craft hovering above him, emitting a bright orange light with a smooth ring at its center. Mexican TV journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan, central to UFO investigations in Mexico since the wave began in 1991, regarded Diaz's UFO photographs as some of the most impressive he had seen. Maussan took Diaz's pictures to Jim Dilatoso, an image processing expert at Village Labs in Tucson, Arizona, who confirmed their authenticity. Satisfied that he was not dealing with a hoax, Maussan visited Diaz at his home in Tepoztlan, Mexico. There, he spoke with other witnesses who claimed to have seen the same type of UFO. The credibility of the Diaz case has also attracted UFO researchers from around the world, seeking insights into the UFO's agenda. Dr. John Mack, with a long history of involvement with UFOs, considers the Diaz case among the most convincing he has encountered. In his book Passport to the Cosmos, he emphasizes the significance of the case. For numerous ufologists, the Diaz case remains one of the most compelling on record. Few reports provide such impressive and abundant photographic evidence, and even fewer have withstood the rigorous scrutiny applied to Diaz's images. The expert analysis of Carlos Diaz's UFO pictures has been exceptionally thorough. Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan entrusted the original transparencies to Professor Victor Quesada at the Polytechnical Institute of the University of Mexico for examination. Quesada expressed shock at the unique spectrum of light emitted by the object, breaking all previous parameters and defying any matches in their databases. 1981 marked the beginning of Carlos Diaz's extraordinary encounters with UFOs and extraterrestrial beings, which have persisted to this day. Diaz claims that his initial experience inside the orbs allowed him to venture to various regions of the Earth's diverse ecosystem, including forests, deserts, jungles, shorelines, and even Arctic areas, alongside his extraterrestrial contacts. Through these interactions, Diaz asserts that he has gained a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all life, and the imperative to preserve our environment. While some ufologists may find these claims implausible, particularly due to past disappointments with alleged contactees, many researchers regard Diaz as a highly credible source. One significant factor contributing to his credibility is the substantial body of photographic evidence he has accumulated to support his assertions. Mexican TV journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan, a prominent figure in UFO investigations in Mexico since 1991, considers Diaz's UFO photographs to be among the most remarkable he has encountered. To validate their authenticity, Maussan enlisted the expertise of Jim Dilatoso, an image processing specialist at Village Labs in Tucson, Arizona, who confirmed their genuineness. After confirming that Diaz was not perpetrating a hoax, Maussan visited Diaz's residence in Tepoztlan, Mexico. There, he interviewed several other witnesses who claimed to have observed the same type of UFOs. The credibility of the Diaz case has also attracted the attention of UFO researchers from other parts of the world, who seek to unravel insights into the alien agenda through Diaz's contactee claims. Notably, German author Michael Heisman, who first interviewed Diaz in June 1994, firmly believes in the credibility of Diaz's account. Heisman highlights that Diaz not only communicates with these beings during encounters aboard their ships, but also asserts that he socializes with some of them, as he believes they are living among us. However, according to Heisman, Diaz's extraterrestrial contacts are reticent about divulging their origins fully. They have hinted, though, that they have been visiting Earth for thousands of years, and exhibit particular interest in our evolutionary progress, which has occurred at a significantly accelerated pace compared to their own. They strive to understand the reasons behind this discrepancy. Another researcher captivated by Diaz's case is John Mack, a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, renowned for his work with abductees and contactees. Mack regards the Diaz case as one of the most compelling he has encountered. In his book Passport to the Cosmos, Mack describes Diaz as having developed an exceptionally profound understanding of the interconnectedness of nature. Diaz's experiences of connecting with living creatures are so intense that he seems to embody the very essence of the entities he describes. Mack characterizes Diaz's encounters as an awakening, a phenomenon he believes is common among abductees. Diaz informed Mack that his contact with extraterrestrials instilled in him a deep sense of responsibility for preserving the environment and the ability to appreciate the beauty of our planet. Whether or not extraterrestrial influence played a role, Diaz's newfound environmental concerns have undeniably become a driving force in his life. He has passionately conveyed his environmental warnings to the public on numerous occasions, most notably at a UFO conference in Düsseldorf, Germany, in 1995. Diaz revealed that his contacts had informed him that the extraterrestrial civilization, like our own, had faced threats from its own history of destruction but had managed to survive. Diaz's outspokenness, combined with the public nature of his experiences, has elevated him to visionary status in both his hometown of Tepoztlán and UFO circles. However, Diaz refutes this characterization, claiming to be merely a messenger and not a unique visionary. Regardless of the true nature of Diaz's current incarnation, the Diaz case remains one of the most compelling and well-supported in the realm of ufology. Few reports can match the impressive and abundant photographic evidence that Diaz has presented, and even fewer have withstood the scrutiny applied to his images. Extensive analysis of Carlos Diaz's UFO photographs has been conducted by experts in the field. Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan entrusted the original transparencies to Professor Victor Quesada at the Polytechnical Institute of the University of Mexico for meticulous examination. Quesada's findings were astonishing. He remarked that the light spectrum emitted by the object depicted in the pictures was unlike anything previously encountered and exceeded all known parameters. The intensity of the light was extraordinary, and there was no indication of manipulation or a fraudulent intent. Quesada estimated the object's diameter to be approximately 30 to 50 meters. In an intriguing turn of events, the photographs were also subjected to analysis by Dr. Robert Nathan at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California. Despite being known as a UFO skeptic, Nathan could not find any evidence to suggest that the images were fabricated. Indeed, many experts who have examined the three pictures consider the first one, showing an orange glowing craft visible through the car's windshield, particularly impressive. The reflection of light on the car's bonnet and the adjacent metal guardrail are details that, professionals assert, are exceedingly difficult to fake. Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan, captivated by Carlos Diaz's experiences, provided him with a video camera to attempt capturing the UFO on tape during its next appearance. A few weeks later, Diaz awoke at 5 a.m., seized his camera, and went outside to wait. Astonishingly, within minutes, the craft materialized and hovered above Diaz's house, and he successfully filmed it. When Maussan saw the incredible footage, he encouraged Diaz to get even closer to the craft while filming. 2 months later, Diaz managed to film the craft once again, this time directly above him, motionless. However, the most spectacular footage is Diaz's third attempt. Setting up his camera on a tripod, Diaz walked to the bottom of a field, signaling with a flashlight. In response, the craft suddenly appeared directly above Diaz, emitting beams of light towards him. After remaining still for 30 seconds, the unidentified object vanished. This video is widely regarded as some of the most exceptional UFO footage ever recorded. Carlos Diaz expressed his belief that extraterrestrial beings live among us, existing on Earth for hundreds and thousands of years. According to him, they seek to comprehend our behavior and have learned much from observing us. Diaz claims that they hold admiration for our species due to our rapid evolution as a civilization. However, he warns that our haste for technological advancement has blinded us to the environmental damage we are causing.